Maybe that's for me. Maybe that's for me. We're carrying on. Last Sunday, we've been going through the books of the minor prophets, and Sunday I was preparing for what we were going to do today, and I was like, I think Jonah. How many remember Jonah and the whale? Tell me one thing about Jonah. Everybody knows Jonah was swallowed by the whale. That's right. That's what we remember since we were kids. How many flannel graph people do we have in here? You know, flannel graph was the cardboard cutouts, and they stuck to a felt wall, you know, and that's how, now we have YouTube and animation, but now we had stick puppets, and, you know, that's how, you know, the Jonah went into the whale, and, you know, he got thrown off the ship, and then the whale came and ate him, and then spit him out. Bleh. That was my favorite part, the vomit one. You know? What's interesting about this week, as God had been revealing different things, I was studying about Jonah, I'm researching, I'm looking at all the different things about Jonah, Charlie Kirk happens. Which, if you don't know who Charlie Kirk is by now, you must be in a hole somewhere, but that's okay. And it started to make a lot more sense to me. God was preparing a message, as he is, I'm sure, in many pastors' hearts today, about what next, about what now. And today, a title, When God's Mercy Offends Us. When God's mercy offends us. And I want to share a few things that I learned about the book of Jonah. Jonah was a prophet, and he was called to Nineveh. Most prophets were called to Israel to speak about the correction that the Israelites needed to do so God wouldn't smush them. Right? That's what we've been reading in Amos, Obadiah, some of these other ones. But Jonah was sent to Nineveh. He's mentioned one other time in the Bible too, in Kings, but really everything revolves around this experience, Nineveh. Now, why? We know that Jonah did not want to go to Nineveh. He wanted to stay home and play Xbox. No. Why didn't he want to go to Nineveh? See, they were their mortal enemies. They had betrayed his own family, the Israelites. Those people had devastated and ravaged his ancestors and close family members. They were enemies, and there's no way in Hades. He said, I'm going, God. I ain't going. So Jonah packs up, and he starts to head to the end of the known world at the time, at Tarsus, and he gets on a boat. He buys a ticket, and he starts to run from God. As he's running from God, a storm comes. How many of you ever been running from God and you encounter a storm? How many of you ever just not been running from God and you encounter a storm? All right? That is sometimes a misconception. When I give my heart to Jesus, there are no more storms. There's just daisies and sunshine. No, my friend, God has a purpose for you. And it ain't what you think it is, as Jonah is about to find out. I'm sure when Jonah signed up to be God's prophet, he did not anticipate his calling going this direction. He did not think that he was being called to do this. God, surely you have made a mistake. Surely you are not asking me to do this. I don't want to do this. You don't understand. Everything inside of me, I want to hurt them. I want to kill them. And I know you're a gracious God, is what he says. And I know what you're going to do. You're going to forgive them if they repent. And I just wonder if maybe he was somewhat also embarrassed because of his own family's, Israel's behavior wasn't repenting, and here the enemy was going to end up repenting. The question at the heart of Jonah is just simply this: do we want God's mercy only for ourselves? Or do we share his heart for others, even our enemies? You know, evil people do evil things. I am not shocked at all about what happened to Charlie Kirk. I am shocked that it did happen, but I am not shocked that evil people did evil things. I am not shocked that the responses about his situation were that of hate and evil and discontent. Some of those are actually evil people, and that's what evil people do because they don't know what we know. They don't know Christ. They don't have. Left to our own accord, we would all be evil. It is only about the saving grace of God that I understand a loving Father who loves me and has changed my life for being selfish and deplorable. So I'm not shocked when I see these things from them. They're evil. I'm not shocked when a baby poops its diaper. That's what babies do. And there's others who spout off at the mouth and they're just trying to fit in. They're just lost and confused, and it breaks my heart. I'm reminded in pre-service today we talked about Stephen, who was stoned to death, and his last words to the Father were, "Don't hold this against them." And Jesus, the best example, forgive them, for they don't know what they're doing. I saw a commentary, an interview from a guy concerning Charlie Kirk, and he was not a fan of Charlie Kirk, but he was a fan of humanity. He said, I don't have the faith that he does, but it inspired me. He said, and what these people don't understand who are evil is they have woken a sleeping giant. They were mad about one Charlie Kirk, and now they're going to have thousands of Charlie Kirks out there. Enough is enough. It is time for the Christian church to stand up and say something, not out of hate or anger, but out of love. They don't know. Nineveh's got to know. They got to know. So number one, you can't outrun God's call. Can't outrun it. The Lord in Jonah 1, verse 1 through 3, the Lord gave this message to Jonah. Set up and go to the great city of Nineveh. Announce my judgment against it because I have seen how wicked its people are. But Jonah got up and went in the opposite direction to get away from the Lord. He went down to the port of Joppa where he found a ship leaving for Tarshish. He bought a ticket on an aeroplane. Bought a one-way ticket. Never mind. And went on board hoping to escape the Lord by sailing to Tarshish. That calling's costing too much, God. I refuse to do it. Jonah went the opposite direction. But you cannot run from God's presence. He's everywhere. He's everywhere. He made you, and he's not letting you go that easy. Now, you may not have had a storm like he has had in a whale come and swallow you up, but you have had the presence of God persuade you, push you, influence you to the right course. As we have been driving down the road many a times, like my wife says, the GPS always tells her recalculating because she doesn't understand how far 600 feet is to the next turn. She's, oh, that was recalculating. God is not surprised either, you know. He knew Jonah was going to run. But why didn't he get someone else? Because he asked Jonah to do it. Number two, God's mercy is bigger than our bitterness. Jonah 3, 4 through 5. On the day Jonah entered the city, this is after he'd done been thrown over. There was a great storm, and they were tossing stuff off the ship and casting lots, and the lot fell on Jonah. And he said, they said, what have you done? He said, it's me. It's me. Throw me over. Gladly. No, they really weren't. They were concerned. They really were concerned, which is ironic, but they were concerned. They tossed him over, and he stayed in the belly of a whale for 3 days, which is a lot of times they'll correlate it, because Jesus refers to it later in the New Testament. It's symbolic of being in the tomb for 3 days. That was kind of interesting. But so Jonah finally relents. Jonah finally gives in. And I think it's like one of these give in, like, tell your sister you're sorry, give in, and you say, I'm sorry. You ain't sorry. But I'm going to be obedient at least. I'm going to at least do what you told me to do. I don't have to like it. You can't make me like it, God. But God's mercy is bigger than our bitterness. Now, his bitterness was not unwarranted. I want you to understand that. His hatred for that is, I'm not saying it's right, but I understand. Because the betrayal and the hatred and the evil that came out of Nineveh is like the same evil that shot Charlie Kirk. And the same evil that spews hate on the internet about he got what he deserved. They're Ninevites. That's what they do. Jonah 3, verse 4 and 5. On the day Jonah entered the city, I love this. He prepared this great speech, this great message Jonah did. Here it is. He shouted to the crowds. I wonder what kind of shout this was. 40 days from now, Nineveh, you'll be destroyed. I ain't telling you how to escape it. I ain't telling you how to get out of it, because you're going to die, suckers. I've been waiting for you to die all this time. And see, you could have the same feelings of animosity to today's Ninevites. He deserves to die. Well, you deserve to die too. You did this to me, I do it to you too. The people of Nineveh believed God's message. Really? Out of that you did? Just a sign that God goes before you. He just needs you to be obedient and deliver a well-articulated, thought-out address to the nation. 40 days from now, Nineveh, you will be destroyed. It's that simple sometimes. There was no convincing that Jonah had to do. There's no convincing that you have to do when you encounter your family. There's no convincing you have to do when you encounter your loved one. There's no convincing you have to do when you encounter your coworkers. Just be obedient. Charlie Kirk was uneducated. He made it through high school. And he just delivered what he knew every time. He had way more patience than I ever could. I couldn't watch all of his stuff because I just couldn't stomach the backlash he took. It was just too much for me. He had a gift, and he was patient, and he spoke the truth, and he did not know everything. There's a guy I follow, Pastor Mark Driscoll, and he talks about, I didn't even know this, but he talked about how him and Charlie had reached out to him for more understanding on biblical truths. So you don't have to have it all figured out. I thought this guy was really smart as it is, but yet he just delivered the truth every day, not out of hate, no matter the cost. He went to Nineveh. He went to the schools. He went to the workplaces. He stood up at the risk of losing his family. It's just lucky that it was him that went and not one of his kids. What's your cost? What's your cost for the calling? Is it $1,000? Can I talk you out of it for $1,000, Brad? Can I talk you out of it for $1 million? $100 million? For your kids? No matter the cost, I can't afford. Jesus himself said, Father, take this cup from me, but if not, there's a mission I'm on. Your will be done. The calling outweighs the cost. Because we are here for this much of a window. Now, we all have been it like this, and we think it's just a vapor, is what he says, to eternity. I'm here today and gone tomorrow. I win. Let's play a game. What do you want to play? It's called I Win. How do you play? I win. That is what I've got with Jesus. That is what you have with Jesus. We play the game, we win. He has won. He has made the way, and someone else has got to go to Nineveh. You got to go to the ones. Going to your friends is one thing. Going to your family is one thing. Going to Nineveh? The young man who shot Charlie needs redemption. The people who are evil, most of them that I've seen are young, just trying to find their way. None of y'all have ever said dumb stuff, right? Still do if you quit pointing at me, Melanie. They all need redemption. So they believed. And from the greatest to the least, they declared a fast and put on burlap to show their sorrow. They made change. Why does the pastor ask you to come forward sometimes? It's because I don't have burlap sacks to give you to put on. Are you following me? There's something about a significance of saying, hey, I accept. I'm sorry. I'm humbling myself, because to walk from there to here is humbling. When you can't walk from there to here, you don't have your eyes on Jesus. You're prideful. I'll order some burlap sacks for you next time. You could change in the bathroom. That's how we're going to do our next baptism. We're going to have burlap sack shirts instead of, we'll put you in the... They're probably pretty itchy. Y'all remember those sack potato races? I never won those. But when God saw what they had done and how they had put a stop to their evil ways, he changed his mind and did not carry out the destruction he had threatened. Jonah's preaching was simple, yet the whole city repented. He was like, man, I should have made it shorter. But Jonah grew angry that God spared them. Watch God start to change the lives of some people. And there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be celebrating and excited about the work that God is doing. But you're going to still have some buffoons that are going to be hating it. Evil people do evil things. Ezekiel in 18 says, do you think that I like to see wicked people die? Says the Lord. Of course not. I want them to turn from their wicked ways and live. I love them. I made them. I don't want them to go down this road. Could I have a cup of water just from right there? Somebody would be very helpful. In 2 Peter 3, the Lord isn't really being slow about his promise as some people think. No, he is being patient for your sake. He wants to see you win. He doesn't want anyone to be destroyed, but he wants, thank you, Steve, but he wants everyone to repent. How many anyones do I have in here? He doesn't want anyone to be destroyed. towards the end of Jonah, we'll read here in a minute, but Jonah cared more about a plant and his comfort that shaded him than about people's eternal destiny. I'm going to ask you today to quit caring about your comfort. I'm going to ask you today, will you be a Charlie Kirk? I'm going to ask you today, will you be a Stephen? Stephen was stoned. He was just like me and you. He was a deacon in the church, a Sunday school teacher. He probably worked the nursery and changed a few diapers. But he was stoned for what he believed in. And that opened the path to a guy named Saul, who then later became Paul. Who are you going to open the path for to change a nation? Who are you going to forsake all the cost? No matter the cost, here I am, Lord, send me. You talking, I need to go to Africa, Pastor Steve? I don't know. I ain't talking about nothing. He will talk to you. You just say, yes, here I am, Lord. He may be sending you across the street to the Mexican restaurant or to the gas station. Some of us have a hard time reaching out across the counter because we're so worried about being inconvenienced. Someone was inconvenienced for you. It is time we reciprocate that. In the book of Romans, Paul says, I'm so indebted. How can I not share the gospel to someone else? It's almost as if I'm saying, glad he got what he got. Do we hate people that much that I'm worried about what I'm going to lose? Can't get my Wi-Fi to work. It's too hot in there. I'm going to be late for work. You're always late for work. Stop. Where's all my late to work people at? Come on. Yeah, I feel you. Those are my people right there. Yeah, sometimes we just get more upset about the dumb things, the insignificant things, than the eternal things. Yeah. Number 3, the heart of God is for the nations. It ain't just about you. Jonah 4:10, he says, and the Lord said, you feel sorry about the plant, though you did nothing to put it there. It came quickly and died quickly. But Nineveh has more than 120,000 people living in spiritual darkness, not to mention all the animals. Shouldn't I feel sorry for such a great city? And the chapter ends. This last you hear about Jonah. God is doing everything possible to reach the ones that were across the microphone in front of Charlie Kirk. They're lost, they're confused. Remember Bill Engvall, the comedian Bill Engvall, here's your sign, you know, if people had warning labels. Well, let me tell you, a lot of people are walking around with warning labels. It's obvious. And then just have them open their mouth. It's better to appear dumb than to open your mouth and remove all doubt. But those are the people that frustrate you, but it moves from a frustration to a compassion. I was once a moron too. I was once lost and confused. I'm not trying to degrade. I'm not trying to belittle here. I'm trying to say I was in the dark. I didn't know where to go, and I was clinging to anything I could find to hold on to because I'm desperate. And it seemed like the thing to grab a hold to until the light came, and I realized, no, I don't want that anymore. I want Jesus. But it wasn't until someone came into my world that shined a light. And we got to go and shine the light. We got to go to Nineveh. We can't be in the belly of a whale. God is going to move you. You're going to run. You're going to hide. Hide your kids. Hide your wife. God's going to find you. You got more to do than to sell houses. You got more to do than to wait on patients. You got more to do than to build houses. You got more to do than to preach. You got more to do. I got more to do. You got more to do. Who's got more to do? We got more to do. In Isaiah, he says, you will do more than restore the people of Israel to me. I will make you a light to the Gentiles, to the Ninevites, to the Charlie Kirk haters, to the evil people. And I will bring my salvation to the ends of the earth. Not just part of the way, all the way. It's for everybody. In Luke 15, it says, in the same way, there's more joy in heaven over one lost sinner who repents and returns to God than over 99 others who are already righteous and haven't strayed away. God's happy with you, but he wants to use you to find the one. Who can find one? Thank you, Luke. All right, the rest of y'all stay after class. We're going to keep talking. Who can find one? Who knows one? Who knows one? You know more. Who knows one? Listen, a parent doesn't just love one child, but the whole family, right? God's heart is wider than ours. I mean, listen, we all got kids, right? We all got kids that act differently and raised differently. How many of you got one kid that cleans their room and one kid that doesn't clean their room, right? You got one kid that eats his vegetables and one that gives it to the dog. We got every kind of different kid all around. I got one kid that peed their parents, one kid that didn't. I mean, it's just everyone's different, right? But you know, if a burglar breaks in to the house, I'm going after both kids. Not just one of them. I told you to clean your room. Better luck next time. Even the evil ones, God is coming after. He's coming after you. He's coming after them. Jonah is not mainly about a fish. When you hear the story of Jonah, I don't want you to think about a fish anymore. Come on, somebody, do it with me. Come on, hurry up. It is about the heart of God. Jonah now is about the heart. It kind of hurts a little bit, of God. What's Jonah about? Not a fish. I mean, there was a fish, but it wasn't about the fish. It's about the heart of God. What you talking about? He forgives the repentant sinner. He challenges the bitter believer. And the book ends with this question. Shouldn't I feel sorry for such a great city? He didn't just do all that with Jesus to save a little. That was a very expensive purchase. It took all that he had to save all. So will we join God in his compassion? Or will we choose to cling to our comfort and to our prejudice? To our betrayals, to our hurts, to the ones who did us wrong. The ones who did us wrong, we could probably all admit, they need a spanking. They need Jesus. Someone probably thought you needed a spanking, but instead gave you Jesus. Stop running. God's call will always find you. Check your heart. Don't hoard the mercy. It wasn't all just for you. There's been a grace that's been afforded to us that overflows into others. But I need you to be around the others. Ooh, some of it spilled out. Some of this spills out here. I got to get in proximity to my people. But I got to get in proximity to the dirty people. Where's Big Nick? Is he not here? Big Nick works hard. He works hard. He comes to the house. He works doing some stuff, and he's always dirty. He's working. Like, what did you roll around in and step in? You dirty. I'm working. I say, that's right. So I'm going to throw from over here. Bless you, Brooklyn. Bless you. You have to do his laundry. Go hose off outside before you come in, you know. It's time we see our Ninevites as God sees them. Join God's mission. He loves all nations. So I ask you a few questions, and then we'll close. So who are the Ninevites in your life? The people you'd rather see judged than forgiven. Oh, I want them to get theirs. God calls us to extend mercy, even when it feels undeserved. The more you understand how undeserving you were, the more compassionate you are for others. How many in here deserved it? We deserved everything he had coming. But he showed us mercy. Matthew 5:44, but I say, love your enemies if you want to. Just making sure y'all aren't on your phones playing fantasy football right now. What did you guys? Y'all taking notes or on Facebook? I ain't sure. We've got no. Okay. But I say, love your enemies. Pray for those who persecute you. It's like heaping coals of fire on their head. It takes two to argue. Just ask your wife. When she doesn't respond, I'm like, you're no fun. I want to fight. Facts. Some of you may name your enemies personally. You know them. Others just maybe a cultural divide. Some of you may not like white people. Some of you may not like black people, orange people, yellow people, brown people. Some of you have racism issues. Some of you may not like the homosexual. Some of you may not like the evil person. Don't like what they do, but I value them as a person. I don't like the evil they're spraying, but there's still a soul. And they need God. Naming your Ninevite isn't about shaming, but about seeing who God is asking us to love. Second question, what did Jonah's attempt to flee teach us about resisting God's will? You're just delaying the inevitable. Running from God's plan only delays it. His call will follow us. It'll eat at you. Storms or fish moments. Who's got a big fish story in here, right? Yeah. Are simply this, or God's mercy to redirect you, not destroy you. Some of you are in the middle of being redirected right now. And you feel like, am I going to ever get out of this? You need to ask yourself, God, what am I to learn during this? What am I overlooking? What am I too hard-headed about right now? What am I not willing to let go of? Like Pastor Nick talked about this morning, he's going to hit you at what costs you the most. And what costs you the most, are you willing to give it up? because this wasn't yours to begin with. That thing you hold on to dearly and tightly is the thing that God is trying to say, would you give me that? And he's going to put you in the belly of a whale till you let go. Are you following? Everything I have, Father, everything I have, God gave me. How many in here like to run? Anyone ever try to run from God? They got new shoes for that. Jordans don't work. So why do you think Nineveh repented so quickly? Why do you think? What does that show about God's mercy? Maybe, like I mentioned, God was working before. Just remember, when you go and God tells you to go, he's already prepared the way. You may not have seen it. Jonah wasn't aware. He was just supposed to go. All the thinking's been done. Just load the wagon. I don't need your opinion. It was short, but it was powerful. It wasn't Jonah. It was everything God was doing. But see, God is eager to forgive those who repent. So I just challenge you with this. Can you stand right where you're at? I'll finish this. Last question. Everybody said, thank goodness. Jonah cared more for the plant than people. So what plants are distracting you right now from God's mission? Jonah loved his temporary comfort but ignored eternal souls. Our plants might be money, careers, politics, entertainment, our jobs, churches, finances, our family, our pets. Colossians 3:2. Think about the things of heaven, not the things of earth. God values people's lives far more than our conveniences. Plants aren't always sinful things, but they can misplace priorities. Yeah. Make them idols. We think, this is too valuable. It's too valuable. It's more valuable than the Ninevites. Abraham was taking his son to the top of a mountain to be obedient and offer him as a sacrifice. But God provided. You think you may be losing your family. You think you may be losing your job. You think you may be losing your career. You think you may be losing whatever. But God's just asking you to be obedient and watch him do the work. He didn't ask you to work for once. He just asked you to obey and believe and trust. I'll close here and I'll say this.